What is going on, everybody out there? Lamont at large today with my special guest, Todd. He is the owner of the Anatomy of Death Museum here in Mount Clemens, Michigan, just outside of Detroit. Today, he's going to give us a tour of his very unique collection of
funeral home history, human anatomy, weird stuff.
So this isn't a haunted attraction?
No, it's not a haunted attraction. It is a museum, but it's a museum of everything that is weird and strange and anything involving death.
And you guys know I'm all about weird, strange, and death. So without further ado, we're going to go into the back of this.
Through the body bags.
Through the body bags, and he's going to show us some really cool stuff.
Hi, my name is Todd. I am the owner of the Anatomy of Death Museum. We're about to enter the museum through our body bags, which are scratch and sniff. We only allow 2 sniffs per person on our body bags. Any additional sniffs is a charge, so come on through.
Oh, geez. Whoa. Okay.
So, amongst other things displayed in a museum, we display a lot of items involving embalming. So these are embalming kits. They come from 1920s and 1930s. Back then, most people were embalmed in their home, in their kitchen. The funerals would usually be at their home. The mortician, undertaker, would bring these kits to your home, and they would embalm you. This one right here would have been for blood and to collect the blood. Another one would have been for the embalming fluid to be injected into your body. Another item here in the museum is this child's casket. This would have dated to around 1910, 1915. A pretty big practice back in the day would have been a child would be displayed in a rental casket. A lot of times people didn't have a lot of money to afford a casket like this. So what they would have done is that they would have rented this from a funeral home. And the reason this one has glass is influenza back then was very devastating to children. It would kill a lot of children. So you would have the glass for contagion to contain it. And then after the services, the child would be placed in a cheap pine box and then buried. When we were cleaning it, we found this picture inside of it. Must have been from one of the last children this casket was used for.
Wow.
So it was used for many years and then put inside of the attic of a local funeral home to which we bought it from. So this is our bone coffin, we call it. Everything in here came from a local doctor's office. Everything is real. Everything came from his collection, because back in the day, print and videos weren't really a thing. So to show people, what was wrong with them or show them the bones, the doctors would have real stuff. These femur bones show hip implants installed, and that's what they would look like. When someone breaks their hip, they don't break their pelvis. They break the little bone, the little ball on the femur, and it cracks, and they replace it with a titanium ball. And everything you see in here, there's arms, pelvises, pieces of femur, rib bones, and stuff like that. This is one of our newest exhibits here. We just added it 2 weeks ago. This is a carved Victorian horse-drawn hearse from 1886, all original. It came from a local funeral home. It was in the garage of that funeral home for many, many years. This would have been used to take to have taken gentlemen, married men to the grave. If it would have had white curtains in it, it would have been used to take women. Another cool thing is if you see a horse-drawn hearse and it is gray, that coach would have been used to take anyone that was unmarried, men or women. So back in the day, this is all they used symbols for everything, symbolism. This is all hand-carved wood. And it's, like I said, everything you see is all original, never been painted, restored, or nothing. So in this case, we have some of our medical human skulls and bones. This came from a doctor who specialized in deformities of the body, to which you see over here all the way to the right. We have a skull suffering from gigantism. This gentleman would have been over 8 feet tall. I am 6 foot tall, 290 pounds, and that skull makes my skull look very small. This is the gentleman's femur that came with the collection. Over here to your left, these skulls also suffer from gigantism, but these people are very young when they pass away, so they didn't have the full potential to get as big as the skull all the way to the right. And even these skulls all the way to the left are bigger than mine by far. And you can see the difference in that one to the right and the ones to the left. This item here in the collection, this is an old ice casket. Dates around the 1850s, 1860s, right around the Civil War era time. What they would have done back then, before refrigeration was available, they would take this metal insert that's inside the casket, and they would remove it. They would place the body inside there, and then what they would do is they would fill that whole thing with ice, and this would act as like a cooler. And it would keep the bodies cool for transportation. And if you wanted to see the person's face, you could look straight down through the glass to see the corpse's face. And these are pretty rare. Not a lot of them exist. And this one's in really, really good shape. And we got this from an old funeral home. So during the embalming process, if someone was involved in some kind of injury to the face, to display the body for a funeral, you would have to fix that. And what this kit is it has different types of ears and noses in it and full faces. And the mortician would basically fill the big void missing on your face with a bunch of wound putty, kind of like Bondo in the car. And then they would place either the face inside of the body and then mold and do cosmetics if you were missing a nose or an ear. These were simple ways to fix that problem. And then with a little bit of makeup and a little bit of sculpting, the mortician in his skill would make you look like you were when you were alive.
And when they would use these prosthetics, mm-hmm. After the funeral, do they take the prosthetics back?
No. I mean, hey, recycling, yeah. No, but no, they would. These were kits that once you use up everything in there, you can reorder it from the company. They don't really do this anymore. This was just a thing back then.
What do they do now that you know of?
They just will basically fill your face with wound putty, and they would sculpt. Now when you go to mortuary science school, they teach you how to sculpt faces. So you would just, if the family chose to have that done, they would just carve a new face out for you once the wound putty dries.
A friend of mine, she was a mortician, mm-hmm. and I forgot what state she was working in, and she got this kid. He had been murdered, and they shot him with a rifle. And I think they were working on him because the family was very insistent on an open casket.
Yeah, for closure.
And
usually.
she said, "Why? How is this even possible?" They did the best they could, and I think they ended up having a closed casket.
Yeah, same thing with John F. Kennedy. After that was done, the family wanted open casket, and they did the best. People don't understand what the trauma that happens to a body.
Oh yeah.
And they tried with John F. Kennedy, and when his wife seen him, they just decided to keep the casket closed because it's never going to look exactly like the person. But that's just if you choose to do it, this is a little thing that you can use to solve that problem. So over here, we have a framed picture. This was a Victorian. Well, what would happen is back then, the photography was very expensive. If you had a child that passed away and you did not have a photo of them alive, they would take photos of the children in the coffins just to have something to remember them by. And then also the thing they would do is they would cut off the pigtails. As you look in this one right here, it says "At Rest." That was the casket plaque. And these were the pigtails from the deceased child that the family framed and saved forever. So it's like having a piece of them still alive without them being alive. This is one of our embalming machines. It dates to probably around the 1950s, 1960s. This is a Portaboy embalming machine. And what would have happened is two 16-ounce bottles of embalming fluid would have been put into this, and then water would have been added. And this machine would inject embalming fluid into the body of the deceased person.
Now, I have a question that I had asked you earlier. You said that everybody, even if you're cremated, you will get embalmed in most instances.
No, so if you're shipped over state lines legally, you have to be embalmed. Not everyone is embalmed. Here in Michigan, you have to be embalmed within 48 hours. If you're going to be set up for a viewing, the suggestion is to be embalmed for sanitary reasons. So most people are embalmed and then cremated, but there's a thing called a direct cremation, which does not involve any kind of funeral services, where the family just has the person picked up from the place of death and taken right over to the crematory and then cremated. And of course, for that, embalming is more for transportation needs and also for viewing purposes. So if you're not going to be viewed, like an open casket or anything like that, there's no need for embalming. So here in the corner of our display, we have an antique embalming table, which holds a bunch of real human bones that came from a private doctor's collection. The bones all are marked of what disease the person suffered from and the deformities. Right underneath it, we have a child's embalming table. The table was bought from us, we bought it from a funeral home, and then when we unfolded it, we can see the outline of a deceased child on it. You can see the head, the shoulders, the legs, and the feet. So the child must have leaked onto the wood, which caused that. Right above that, we have a hoist, a body hoist. This would have been used to remove the deceased person from the embalming table and lift it into the air. The embalming table would have been rolled out of the way, and a casket would have been rolled in the place of the embalming table. And this would have been a way for them to lower the body into the casket to make for easy transition of the body.
Okay, guys, that was a quick tour. We didn't show everything, so if you guys are in the area, you definitely got to come down to the Anatomy of Death Museum. Thank you for Todd.
Yeah.
Listen, guys. It's only $10 to get in, and I loved what you said off camera. You said that you keep it low because people do bring their families here.
Yeah.
And a family of 5, they come here $50, and then when they leave, they got money for food.
Children 14 and under, $7 a person. Children 5 and under is free. So we even make it easier for families. We have not upped our price since COVID, like everyone else has. Even though our bills and everything else has doubled and tripled, we do a good business out of here, and we like to give back to the community. And our place is all about education more than it is about money. So teaching people about what we do and things is good for us.
Okay, well, you heard that, guys. So if you're gonna bring your kids here, tell them to not be touching things. Don't be touching things.
Or we might have to add them to the collection.
We don't want that. And last and not least, everything in the front of this place is for sale. They do have a gift shop.
Yep.
And you do have quite a number of interesting things. For sale. So you guys definitely need to check this place out. Thank you again
for
showing me.
Appreciate
I appreciate it. See you on the next video. Peace out.